I'm Myles and welcome to today's study session with me on the cardiovascular system and the medical applications of physics. So, today we're going to be going over just the basics, really, of what is the cardiovascular system, what is cardiology even, and then we're going to be talking more about the math behind the cardiology and the cardiovascular system, discussing about flow rates and its relationship to velocity, viscosity and Poisson's law, turbulence in blood flow, the molecular transport phenomenon. And then we're going to end it off with a couple of examples for you to study as well. What is the cardiovascular system? Well, the cardiovascular system consists of the heart, veins, capillaries, and arteries. So, the heart and these vessels push blood throughout the body so they can get adequate levels of oxygen and other nutrients while getting rid of CO2. Did you know that every minute 1.5 gallons of blood gets pushed throughout your body and 200,000 gets pushed throughout your body every single day? That's amazing. And other things you may not have known was that your heart beats roughly 100,000 times a day, and there's around 60,000 miles of blood vessels in your body. That means you can go around the earth twice. What is cardiology? Cardiology is the specialty of medicine that focuses on the cardiovascular system, its diseases, treatments, and surgeries. Some diseases that affect the cardiovascular system are chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, also known as COPD, heart attacks, high blood pressure, arrhythmia, stroke, and coronary artery diseases. So, how is physics used in all this? Physics is used in medicine all the time, especially in the cardiovascular system. It is used to talk about the velocity of blood being pumped throughout the heart, the viscosity of it, the hydrostatic pressure, aortic circulation, constriction of the heart, and the EKG readings. So, the former two, velocity of the blood being pumped and the hydrostatic pressure, has to do with fluid mechanics, while the latter three talk about electricity of the heart, especially surrounding the Purkinje fibers, SA nodes, VA nodes, and diastolic and systolic pressure. In case you don't know what that is, diastolic and systolic pressure is what you see when you're taking your blood pressure. The top one is our systolic pressure, while our bottom one is our diastolic pressure. The top systolic pressure is talking about when our heart is constricted or tight, and the bottom one, the diastolic pressure, is when it's at relax. And next we're going to be discussing flow rate and its relationship to velocity. So we have a very important equation that we're going to be used. Q is equal to AV, which shows flow rate is directly proportional to both the magnitude of velocity, or also known as the speed, and the size of whatever it's going through. It could be known as a river, pipe, or other conduit. In these cases, the cardiovascular system will be talking about the speed of the blood going through the heart, which is the V, and we'll be talking about the size of the vein, artery, or other blood vessel being used, also seen as the A. In this example, we'll be talking about the cardiovascular system, where the velocity or speed will be the speed of the blood going through the veins. And next we'll be discussing viscosity and Poisson's law. Viscosity, you may not know what that is, but viscosity is how thick a liquid is. So if we pour water outside of a cup, it comes out pretty easily. But let's say we're trying to pour corn syrup, that's going to pour out a lot slower, very thickly. Then we're going to be talking about viscous drag, or the resistance for an object to move based off of its viscosity. And as viscosity increases, viscous drag increases as well. Next, we'll be discussing terminal speed, also known as the speed of viscous drag of an object falling in another viscous solution, where all external forces equal to zero, meaning there's no movement at all. And discussing viscosity, its drag, and terminal speed, we also have to talk about Poiseuille's law for resistance. The resistance to laminar flow of an incompressible fluid in a tube can be seen by this equation. R is equal to 8NL divided by pi r to the fourth power. So, what is flow and what's the difference in the types of flow? You might have heard me talk about laminar flow earlier. Well, have you ever been to Disneyland and seen the water fly over you when you're walking to Magic Kingdom or waiting in line to go onto the rapids? And you see how the water looks perfect, not moving at all? That's known as laminar flow. But let's say you have your hose out and you're watering the grass. That is known as turbulent flow or turbulence. Turbulence is when many layers of water are being mixed together, causing water to splatter here and there, such as when you're washing your hands or doing the dishes. Laminar flow is a type of flow where every layer is very specific, layered on top of each other with none of them intermingling or playing. That's why the water looks so perfect exiting the receptacle. And to determine whether it's in laminar flow or turbulent flow, we use the Reynolds number, a dimensionless parameter that can reveal whether a particular flow is laminar or turbulent. And keep in mind, this doesn't just have to talk about water, but can do with any fluid. So, before we get into any examples, let's learn a little bit more about the cardiovascular system. Heart attacks affect around 805,000 people every year, and 4 out of 5 people who have a cardiovascular related disease or death is because of a heart attack or stroke. And 1/3 of deaths for people under 70% of age are because of cardiovascular related diseases. And let's talk about the molecular transport phenomenon. So, the molecular transport phenomenon has 4 types of terminology that we will be using today. Active transport is the process of a membrane moving a particle from a low concentration to a high concentration utilizing energy. Diffusion is the movement of a substance or particle due to randomness, usually from a high concentration to a low concentration. Osmosis is diffusion, but specifically with water, and it's the transport of water from high concentration to low concentration. And dialysis is another word for diffusion. So, let's get started on problem 1.
In problem 1, we are trying to find our velocity with a flow rate of 5.0 liters per minute and a radius of 10 millimeters. We have drawn our graph, finding our givens, and know our equation. So what we have to do first is we have to change our radius into meters. So what we can do is do some stoichiometry. We can say 1 meter is equal to 1,000 millimeters. And if we multiply that, that is equal to 10 to the negative second meters. And to find our area, this is equal to pi r squared. And if we plug this in as the r, we get 10 to the negative fourth power meters squared. And then to find our flow rate in the correct units, we can say 5.0 is equal to 5.0 meters cubed times 10 to the negative third. And then what we can do is we can divide this by 60 seconds. And this is equal to 8.33 times 10 to the negative fifth power meters cubed. And then what we can do is manipulate our equation to plug these in. So V can be equal to Q divided by A. And this is equal to 8.33 times 10 to the negative fifth meters cubed divided by 10 to the negative fourth meters squared. and this is equal to 0.27 meters per second, and this is our speed.
Thank you so much for today's study session. These are the references that I used for our lesson today. And thank you so much for my partners behind the scenes. But thank you so much to my team. We have their information on the side right here. Nothing I could have done today could be done without the rest of GP1 Productions. Thank you so much, and